Oh, we've moved into another book, Monster by Walter D. Myers. Again, one of my favorites. I came to fiction very late. I read a lot of nonfiction until maybe college. When I started reading a lot more fiction. Of course, I read fiction in high school, but really got into it in college. Up until then, it was mostly nonfiction. The best time to cry is at night, when the lights are out and someone is being beaten up and screaming for help. That way, even if you sniffle a little, they won't hear you. If anybody knows that you are crying, they'll start talking about it, and soon it'll be your turn to get beat up when the lights go out. There is a mirror over the steel sink in my cell. It's 6 inches high and scratched with the names of some guys who were here before me. When I look into the small rectangle, I see a face looking back at me, but I don't recognize it. It doesn't look like me. I couldn't have changed that much in a few months. I wonder if I look like myself when the trial is over. This morning at breakfast, a guy got hit in the face with a tray. Somebody said some little thing, and somebody else got mad. There was blood all over the place. When the guards came over, they made us line up against the wall. The guy who was hit, they made sit at the table while they waited for another guard to bring them rubber gloves. When the gloves came, the guards put them on, handcuffed the guy, then took him to the dispensary. He was still bleeding pretty bad. They say you get used to being in jail, but I don't see how. Every morning I wake up and I'm surprised to be here. If your life outside was real, then everything in here is just the opposite. We sleep with strangers, wake up with strangers, and go to the bathroom in front of strangers. They're strangers, but they still find reasons to hurt each other. Sometimes I feel like I have walked into the middle of a movie. It is a strange movie with no plot and no beginning. The movie is in black and white and grainy. Sometimes the camera moves in so close that you can't tell what is going on, and you just listen to the sounds and guess. I have seen movies of prisons, but never one like this. This is not a movie about bars and locked doors. It is about being alone when you are not really alone and about being scared all the time. I think to get used to this, I will have to give up what I think is real and take up something else. I wish I could make sense of it. Maybe I could make my own movie. I could write it out and play it in my head. I could block out the scenes like we did in school. The film will be the story of my life. No, not my life, but this experience. I write it down in a notebook they let me keep. I'll call it what the lady who is the prosecutor called me, Monster. Monday, July 6th, Monster. Fade in, interior, early morning in cell, Block D, Manhattan Detention Center. Camera goes slowly down grim gray corridor. There are sounds of inmates yelling from the cell to cell. Much of it is obscene. Most of the voices are clearly black or Hispanic. Camera stops and slowly turns toward the cell. Interior cell. 16-year-old Steve Harmon is sitting on the edge of the metal cot, head in hands. He is thin, brown skinned. On the cot next to him are the suit and tie he is to wear to court for the start of his trial. Cut to Ernie, another prisoner sitting on John, pants down. Cut to Sunset, another prisoner pulling on t-shirt. Cut to Steve, pulling blanket over his head as screen goes dark. Voiceover. Ain't no use putting the blanket over your head, man. You can't cut this out. This is reality. This is the real deal. VO continues with anonymous prisoner, explaining how the detention center is a real thing. As he does, words appear on the screen just like the opening credits of the movie Star Wars, rolling from the bottom of the screen and shrinking until they are a blur on the top of the screen before rolling off into space. Monster, the story of my miserable life. starring Steve Harmon, produced by Steve Harmon, directed by Steve Harmon. Credits continue to roll. The incredible story of how one guy's life was turned around by a few events and how he might spend the rest of his life behind bars, told as it actually happened. And that is Monster, written in journal form, screenplay form, and regular novel form. Excellent. When you're talking about dealing with forms and presentation, one of the best books ever written. And I guess in school they would have told us this would be postmodern because it takes on the different forms and mixes them, even though it's one genre. It also tells you what a black man goes through in this society. We'll see after this revolutionary movement is over if that's the case, but so far it has not changed. And remember, you can have revolutionary moments, and the powers that be crush you could win. It doesn't mean because you have a revolutionary moment, the revolutionaries win. So we'll see what happens. Until next time, thank you for your support. Take care of your mind, take care of your body, and stay safe.